Hey, what's up? It's Joe. Welcome to my 5 Minute Friday for December 15th. So I'm currently hanging out in Paris, France, and spent the last couple of days actually in Boston, Massachusetts at the Chief Data Officer and Chief AI Officer Summit over at Northeastern University. So shout out to Northeastern for hosting the event. And yeah, I mean, the crowd there was kind of the who's who of the C-suite and data. I mean, you had people from most of the big companies, most of the big institutions you can think of. So it was cool to meet a lot of new friends and and connect with the old ones. And the interesting thing that I noticed, there's a couple threads here. One is the introduction of these data roles into the C-suite is a relatively new phenomenon. I could chief data officer has been around not that long, and chief AI officer is fairly new as well. Which my good friend Sol Rashidi, she was, I think by most accounts or all accounts, the first chief AI officer in the world back in 2016. And so this is he's a relatively new C-suite position, and I got the impression from the panels and the discussions that I was listening to or a part of that data is still not really understood at an executive level or a board level. And so maybe the notion is that we'll hire these, data specific C-suite, people to come in and lead our data strategy and AI strategy, and magical things will happen. And it kind of reminds me, again, I've written about this in the past, but there's an old South Park meme called the Underpants Gnomes, and it's basically goes like, phase one, collect underpants. Phase two, question mark. Phase three, profit. And this reminds me a lot of the conversations that I had in Boston. These C-level executives, right? I mean, they're brought in, and the expectation is that because data is this magical thing, it's quote the new oil and all these other cliches. Now AI is red hot, so everyone has to do AI. And AI, we'll take AI as an example. AI has a lot of backing of boards and CEOs, but probably not for the reasons you think. I get the sense that a lot of this is being driven by FOMO, right? So ChatGPT sort of blew the doors off of consumer interest in AI, and now every company needs to be an AI company. But if you look under the hood at what generative AI does, it's not a magical thing. It's a way to take inputs and produce outputs. But these inputs and outputs, they're in a lot of cases these aren't anything that extraordinary, right? If I give you an input, if I give a ChatGPT an input like, write me a letter about such and such thing, it'll do as good of a job as it can given the inputs it has. But this is not the same thing as an artificial general intelligence that's going to like run your entire company. And so I think in a lot of cases there's a lot of misunderstandings about the capabilities of and I'll call it machine learning because I still don't really buy that we should call these things AI, but hey, that's what we're calling them. But I'm still going to call it machine learning today because I just feel like it. But these machine learning algorithms, they have their time and place, but we've been using machine learning for ages, right? We've been using it for things like, well, I won't even call forecasting machine learning, that's just stats, but classification and regression type problems, right? And now we have generative AI, which is more, it's a non-discriminative type of machine learning. It generates content. And so there are certainly applications of generative AI, but I think the misnomer is that these technologies are going to, just magically transform companies overnight. Again, as my friend Sol says, it's imperative that you have a data strategy before you have an AI strategy. And my concern is that these companies are jumping headfirst into AI without knowing what's going to happen. And as I've written extensively, I feel like the chickens are going to come home to roost, so to speak, on this, where because the data strategy hasn't been thought through, because the data foundations haven't been in place, there's going to be a lot of wasted motions, I hate to say, on these AI initiatives, and I feel like most of them will go nowhere. And so I'm very curious to see, what a lot of this hype and interest around, quote, AI leads to. Again, I think generative AI is awesome. I think there's a lot of creative applications for this, especially if you're in content. I use it all the time. I personally use ChatGPT to more as a chat agent. It's just a friend I can talk to, right, and just kind of have a dialogue with, and it comes up with some surprisingly awesome things. But these capabilities of generative AI compared to what I think board members and CEOs expect of this, I think there's a giant gap. Again, it's the underpants gnomes argument, where let's do AI, right? Question mark, and then profit. The question mark is where all the hard stuff happens. That's your data strategy. That's laying the foundations. That's getting quick wins and so forth. And using ChatGPT, the commercially available or enterprise available, the option is maybe for internal use cases is great. For stuff that's customer facing, that's I don't know that I would do that. But hey, it's free world. You can do what you want. So yeah, anyway, I'm curious to see where this goes. I just felt like, there was a massive gap between the interest in doing AI and just the practical realities of what companies are willing to invest to get there. And that's basically my point. So underpants gnomes are probably going to strike again, because I don't get the impression that, companies are going to outlay infinite amounts of money. I feel like this is just something that, companies want to check the list of saying that they're doing AI. But I've been through several of these hype cycles before. When it comes to making the real investment of time and effort, that's where I think a lot of these things fall short. So hopefully I'm wrong. I would love to see machine learning and quote AI take off, and companies realize its fullest potential. But I've just seen time and time again the willingness to invest for real in these types of things is often lacking over the duration that is really required to get there. So anyway, shout out to all my CDO and CAIO friends. There's a lot of vowels in there, but yeah, I mean, it's just keep fighting the good fight, and hopefully we'll make progress as an industry. But I think it's just, as I keep ranting, these are the bigger problems as an industry that we keep facing. Again, it's just putting the time and the attention and the effort in to do all the hard work. That's where I think we need to focus our attention. And unfortunately, because we're motivated by quick wins, that is the disconnect. Anyway, I'm gonna go get a cup of coffee or a nice espresso in Paris, and yeah, we'll see you next week, and have a good one. Bye bye.